So guys, many people have responded to the death of Kevin Samuels, Marlon Wayans, Tom Likas, I'll get to him in a minute, but Derrick Jaxn, who is the antithesis of Kevin Samuels, decided to make a statement in form of a YouTube video. And the way that I found out about that was Bernard Riley was doing a stream called Derrick Jaxn Uses Kevin Samuels' Death to Pander to Black Women. So I went over to that particular channel to see what the content was about. I know it was published about 20 hours ago. And well, you know what? Let's hear what he had to say for the first 3 minutes.
As you guys can see by the title, I want to discuss something. The recent passing of Kevin Samuels, controversial relationship, YouTuber, counselor, amongst other things. But he passed away a couple of days ago. From I think it was cardiac arrest or something like that. Besides the point, I got hit up to ask my thoughts about this. One, because of who I am in the relationship space, and we tend to stand on opposite sides of the spectrum, and have not been shy about that at all. But I wanted to speak on this for two reasons. First off, I do want to speak on that, how I personally feel about the passing of him as a controversial relationship orator or, you know, YouTuber or what have you. And then also the other part where I see a lot of women, Black women especially, who have been celebrating that he's died. Yes, for those who don't know, he's so controversial that you have people who have a lot of mixed reactions to him passing. Sometimes you have people grieving, you know, this type of thing. But right now you have a lot of folks who are celebrating. They're at least mocking or maybe even just apathetic to the fact that he has passed on. And I've seen people like his fans and stuff talk about that group as being, you know, really messed up. Like how twisted you got to be. How effed up of a human being do you have to be laughing or happy and celebrating that this man has died? And my personal belief on that, even if I don't stand where they stand, is that it's not so much a measurement of their character, even those that are laughing at him being gone. It's not a measurement of their character that they're reacting in that way, as much as it's a reflection of the impact that his content has had on them. Because yes, Kevin Samuels is not all bad or all good. Nobody is. So there are people who have had very positive experiences. He's been encouraging, validating to a certain group. But there's another group who have experienced his content the exact opposite in a really messed up way. Dare I say verbally abusively. You know, some people say, oh, that's a reach. You know, he was just holding women accountable. How do you hold a woman accountable for being 35 years old and single and saying that they're leftovers? In which that was his most recent viral clip. Let's be real, you know, let's not idolize the dead and just make them angels all of a sudden. Like, let's stop the gaslighting, okay? So for the women that fit into any of those groups, whether it was 35 and single and you called leftovers, or, you know, you're overweight, so you call Big Shirley, or you average looking at best, or you're a single mother and you experienced his content in a really harmful, negative, demoralizing way, that group's experience with his content is just as valid as those of you who have gotten it, you know, a lot from his content and you love his conversations and stuff like that. You know, so I have an issue with invalidating them as just being another messed up, twisted group of people that can't handle the truth or whatever else. And I also have a problem with charging Black women with the responsibility to continuously take the moral high road and be the bigger person. Like they're always held to that responsibility. You know, Black women march for us as Black men whenever we die at the hands of police brutality, but vice versa, when a Black woman is killed, they get silence at best. Sometimes they even get, what did she do to deserve that? You know, and when it comes to being a parent, a lot of Black women are left to raise a child by themselves and blamed for choosing the man that left them to raise that child by themselves. So not only do they have to pick up the slack and make it make sense to this child and take on the responsibility when they didn't make that child by themselves, but they're blamed for it. And then, you know, you got a lot of Black women who have to heal themselves from the traumas that we as men impose on them. And then now we're telling them that, hey, when a person that represented trauma and degradation to you and humiliation to you and mockery to you and projecting a lot of unworthiness onto you, when that person can no longer do that, bite your tongue or else you're a bad person.
So guys, he makes some interesting points that, you know, I do want to agree with. Obviously Kevin Samuels has touched a lot of people's lives. I mean, currently right now I'm in Poland and I've had people come up and talk to me and wish me my condolences for Kevin Samuels. Talk to Dima, people in Russia saying the same thing, people in Ethiopia, people in Nigeria. So Kevin Samuels is actually a lot bigger than what we thought he was. But at the same time, there are people who are not going to like Kevin Samuels content for whatever reason. But here's what I disagree with what he's talking about. He made the case that a lot of women have been harmed by Kevin Samuels' content because, they may be 35, single and left over. He called them big Shirleys. They're single moms. And that these women are looked at as women who can't handle the truth. And this happened by no fault of their own. Let me just say this. If you are a single dad and you're broke, or you're a fat man, or you're 35 and you're a broke man, what do black women tell you? Black women tell you that it's your fault, right? I mean, what does Kevin Samuels show? What was it about anyway? It was about women who were the group that he's describing, telling the basic black men or the average black men that I don't want you. You're not good enough for me. Even though, statistically speaking, we're in the same social class, this is who you should be with in all of this. No. Okay. You're broke, even if I'm broke. So black women have been able to tell, black men for years that we're unsuccessful. We're not doing very well. But in return, if black men were to able to say, well, you know what? You're 35 and you have kids and you're Big Shirley. You don't deserve a guy like me who makes $250,000 and might be attractive. That is the problem. Because see, before Kevin Samuels, it was never articulated what black men wanted. You just saw black men going over to Brazil that could afford it, or black men, moving over with white women or women in the black elite. But now that you actually got to hear the same thing in response from black men, it's called hate speech and they have been harmed. What about all the black men who have been harmed by these same women that say the same things about us? So it's hypocrisy. And this whole thing about black women are always have to face the moral high road. And, this other stuff about, black women march black men when we died. Let me get to those two arguments. Black women, as far as taking the moral high road, maybe some of them do. But just go ask Oprah Winfrey. You can look at Gayle King, Iyanla Vanzant. You can look at Ebony Essence, Accept Me As I Am type articles. You black men are not anything. Some of you guys are on the down low. You are gay. You don't take care of your kids. I mean, these are things I was hearing in the 90s about what women felt about black men. So as far as a moral high road, it's actually black men who have taken the moral high road in this pretty much discussion, because black men at least had the ability to keep these conversations in the barbershop setting. We didn't start our own media platforms to actually go ahead and combat this until later on. But this other situation, about, black men, women marching for black men, and when something happens to them, nothing happens. I mean, how do you think black women in the 60s got civil rights? Was it them out there? For the most part, some of them got attacked, but the majority of the people that went to jail and got beat or got hung were black men. So you're going to act like black men didn't do anything, huh? So black men didn't help establish any of the black universities, like Tuskegee with Booker T. Washington and things like that. A lot of the churches that black women went to school in, a lot of the funding that came into businesses on Black Wall Street. So that wasn't black men. Okay. This is what I don't like. All right. Now, further in the video, I'm not going to actually, play that because it doesn't really matter. But he did give his condolences. He did say that Kevin Samuels, his life was cut short too fast, and he doesn't agree with people saying that, he should have died or he should have passed away and those things. And I'll give him kudos for saying that, because he said, hey, he has a mother, his mother just lost a child, and, Kevin Samuels was just coming into his own. And I definitely appreciate that. But here's what I really want to believe. The black community has to stop being so one-sided. Okay? If us as black men, if we are fat, if we are broke, do we expect that black women are going to, the best looking black women should be with us? We already know the answer to that. Okay? If you're not a high achieving man, and sometimes if you are a high achieving man, or if you looked at as being a nerd, or you're not cool, you might not even make it in certain black circles. But then let that black man become successful and be able to speak his piece. All of a sudden, that guy has to be shut down. That guy has to be taken aback. And let me just tell you this, that black men are not going to stop, saying how they feel now just because there are black women out there that want to cancel you, or there are black women out there that are upset, because black women have not thought about the feelings of black men. I mean, we understand what black women wanted, despite what they looked like or how they acted, but they never really cared about what do these black men want. And Kevin Samuels was the first person on social media to really articulate what the high quality, high earning African-American man who is a 6-figure earner, what his real opportunities are. And people are upset because we're not the black church lying to you and saying that God's going to give you a man. That's the whole situation. So as far as, I mean, if you want to support a guy like Derrick Jaxn and let him take your money and buy his books, I mean, you're still going to be very, very single because Derrick Jaxn don't hook up nobody. But if you really want black men to be men, if you want them to be leaders, and if you want them to not be the kind of men that you say they are today, then you have to be able to let them express their opinions. You have to let these men be men. And I don't think you let those men be men. I think many of those guys are going to just be men whether you like it or not. And that's the problem that a lot of ladies in the community are having, because you're just so used to black men just, running amok because you say so, or, just being bullied, or, all black men are there for just to work and die and give you all the money while you do whatever you want and, be in sexless marriages or whatever and be embarrassed. And that's just really not the case. It's not, the days aren't the same as it used to be. Black men have a lot of opportunity now with the world being open and the economies of scale being open. And then if they put in some effort in their life, they don't have to deal in the black community now if they don't want to. So you can also have that as a result, and these guys don't say anything, which is what they have been saying. But at least if they say something about it, it may indicate that they care. The problem that you're going to have is if they stop talking and go silent, then they just don't care and they leave. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Really appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell, check out the first link at the top. And as you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I'm out.